Hello everybody, I'm back with another video regarding the new SCATT MX-W2. My previous video was just a simple unboxing and my initial impressions regarding the unit. This video will go into connecting it to your PC or Mac. I've been meaning to try to get out to my range and do a full video of this in action, live fire at 50 meters. Just haven't had a chance to do that yet, but stay tuned because that video will eventually be posted. For now, here again is the unit, and you'll see on the front side here there's a couple of buttons. One is a power button and one is a mode button to switch between the various connection modes. So just a simple press on the power button and you'll see this blue LED turns on in the lower left. This indicates the blue LED is for the direct Wi-Fi connection mode. So right now it's actually creating its own Wi-Fi network, which you can connect to through your computer by searching for available networks in the area. I haven't actually checked to see what the range is on this, but it's been considerable when I've used it just here at home dry firing. Now the blue is for the direct Wi-Fi connection. If you press this mode button, you'll see it switches to green. Now green is for the network connection mode. Now in that case you would have to actually pair this with an existing wireless network, and then this device would be seen on that network and you can connect to it. The advantage of connecting it via this option is that your PC can connect to both this and still be connected to the internet at the same time. Whereas in the direct Wi-Fi connection mode, which was with the blue LED, you'll only be able to connect to this and your computer will not have any access to the internet. There's a third mode to connect this by, and that's the old-fashioned way of connecting it via the USB cable. And when you connect that, this LED will change color again. I believe it's yellow. But for most people, I think the direct Wi-Fi connection will be the one that's used the most, because I'll be using this at my outdoor range, and there's no internet access over there. There's no Wi-Fi. So I think the great majority of people will be using this particular mode to connect it. And I'm gonna have some screen recordings for you to show the different connection modes and how that's accomplished through the program. To turn it off, it does have an automatic shut-off, so if it does detect that you've been inactive for a while, I don't know what the exact time limit is, this will shut off by itself to preserve the battery. But to turn it off, just press and hold the power button. It'll change color, and then you'll see the LED fade away. So that shows that it's now powered off. Now charging, the USB port on the side is a USB-C. So you have the option, you can charge this either through the USB port on your computer, or you can actually charge it using the using your cell phone charger. So this works just as well. So when you plug it in, you'll see the LED now in the lower right will turn on, and this will indicate that it is charging. Now when it is fully charged, this LED will turn green, and that will be an indicator that the device is fully charged. Depending on the use, it may take a couple hours to charge it fully. I've noticed some things when I charge it. If you're charging it via a PC like I'm doing right now, set it so that your computer doesn't go to sleep. I've noticed when I've done this, when I started doing this and charging it with the PC, when my computer went to sleep, the LED turned green to indicate that it was fully charged, but it actually wasn't fully charged. Something happens where when the PC goes to sleep, this gets confused and it tells you that it's fully charged when it's not. So I noticed that a couple times. So now I have my computer, when I'm charging it via the computer, I have it set to not go to sleep at all. You won't have that problem obviously when using this. You may also run into some instances where, again, it'll say that it's fully charged, but it's not. I've gotten into the habit of, even after it's turned green, that I'll just leave it on there for a little bit longer just to make sure that the battery is fully charged. It's pretty simple. Haven't had any other issues. That's just the one main thing that you might want to look out for in case you encounter it after purchasing one of these. But as far as battery life, I have used this doing a dry fire 3x40. It lasted the entire time. I tend to use the majority of the time in a 3x40, so 2.5+ hours, or 2 hours 45 minutes, and this lasted. Now it does shut off in between when I'm doing the changeovers from kneeling to prone and then prone to standing, but you just turn it back on, and I didn't have to recharge it in between any of the changeovers, and it worked just fine. So here I'm going to connect it via USB. So I already have the SCATT connected with the USB cable to the computer. So I'm just going to open the SCATT Expert software. We'll start a new practice. I'll select my shooter profile and continue. Now, right now it shows USB and no devices. That's simply because I haven't turned it on. So on the device, I'm going to press the power button. And you'll see the SCATT will now show up, and it'll show the serial number of your particular SCATT unit. So you'll just select that, click continue. Now select whichever target that you want, continue, and this is good to go. So if you've already been using this at the particular distance, you can just go ahead and start training. You'll see here that when it's in the upper right hand corner, when it's connected via USB, it'll also continually charge the battery, so it's showing that it's charged right now. But that's basically all you have to do to connect it via USB. So one of the reasons that I wanted to get the newest SCATT, the MX-W2, was I wanted something that was completely wireless. For those of you that don't know, I live in Southern California, just south of Los Angeles. And it's not exactly the hotbed for Olympic-style shooting, especially 50-meter small bore. So there's very, very few ranges at all for me to train at. Actually, there's really just one, which is the Los Angeles Rifle and Revolver Club. So most of my training is actually dry fire training at home. So you can actually see this is me in my backyard training, doing dry fire training. And I used to have a SCATT USB, which worked really well, but it was just limited in where I could use it and at what particular time. I still work, so all of my training is done either, I can get to the range on the weekends, but that's about it. So the rest of my training is at home. So I wanted something that was portable, that I could use almost anywhere, and was simple to set up, and that's why I really wanted the SCATT MX-W2. There's no wires, there's nothing to set up downrange. So my range actually at home is just a scaled down 50-meter target, scale it down for 10 meters, and I just paste that or tape it to the brick wall in my backyard, and that's what I use for training. And yeah, it works really well so far. You see I have a big blue tarp to my left because that's where the sun sets, so that protects me from the sun. And I'm able to come out here during the week to my backyard after work and shoot so long as there's enough light. Now when the winter comes, I'll be putting up some lights. But yeah, the MX-W2 is exactly what I've been looking for. So now this last part of the video, I'll be showing you how I set it up and connect it via the direct Wi-Fi option, which is what most people will be using, especially when they're at their home range. If it's an outdoor range and it doesn't have Wi-Fi or any type of internet access. So at this point, your SCATT should be mounted on your rifle and turned on. So we're going to connect it via the direct Wi-Fi connection. So we'll go to our network menu, and we'll select the SCATT network, which should be SCATT and your SCATT serial number, and just connect to that. And then you can open up the SCATT Expert software. We'll start a new practice. Select a shooter profile. Continue. That will we'll select Wi-Fi, and the SCATT should show up there, so you can select that and continue. And then again, we'll select the target we want to train on. Continue. And in the upper right, you'll see these three little lines. If you click on that, they'll open up a box, and you can put in some notes there. I like to put in the position I'm training. Below that is a slider for the F coefficient. And then there'll be some graphs here which will have information once you start taking shots. Now at this point, I would be in my position or setting up my position, trying to get my natural point of aim. If you've already, what's good about this is it saves settings. So if you've already been training at say 10 meters and you stop and then you come back to it the next day, the SCATT program and the sensor will remember those settings, so you don't need to do a second calibration. So you can just go ahead and start your training right now by taking some shots and then proceeding from there. Now for this one, I know that I had it set for a different distance. So you can see at the bottom it says you have to recalibrate it if the sensor mount was adjusted or displaced. So I was shooting at a different distance previously. So I am going to go to the calibration, and I'm going to make sure that the SCATT sensor is pointed at the target, that the black bull shows up in its field of view, and then I'm going to make sure that it picks up the shots. And this is something that you have to do each time, because especially if you only have one of these and you're switching back and forth between 10 meters and 50 meters, that's what you'll have to do. To make it easier, I have actually two different mounts so that the mounts never actually leave my gun. So that's the one thing that's good. So if you have two mounts, you can go ahead and just take the sensor off, mount it, and then just have to do the calibration. So here you can see I'm going into preview mode. So that's my backyard. There's the target. It's just a piece of paper with a black dot on it, and it's taped to the wall. So I'm gonna just make sure that, yeah, right about here is where I would be if I was aiming at the target, and you can see it's almost pretty much centered. So we'll go ahead, and now there's some different options here that you can play around with, but I'm good, so I'm going to exit preview mode. And now I'm going to go ahead and aim at the target again and make sure that that red dot appears in its field, or in this black field. And you can take a shot, and then as long as it registers, you're good to go. So now I'm going to go continue on with my training now that it's calibrated. And you can zoom in and zoom out just like you would with an electronic target or with the previous SCATT software. And the rest of this video is just this training session for me. So you'll see that I'll take a bunch of sighting shots. You can see the trace. For me, kneeling is my most challenging position. Some days it works really well. Other days, like this day in particular, it didn't really work. And that's the one thing that I'm trying to figure out. And with this SCATT, I hope to figure it out, and with some analysis from people that actually know what they're doing. So the rest of the video, as I said, is just this particular training session. So you'll see me take, I think, about 15 sighting shots. You'll see me make corrections when I feel that it should be a 10. That's the one thing you have to do with dry firing, since you don't have an electronic target to show where your actual shot is. The best you can do is just take a shot, and if that shot, when you're, with the sight alignment, your trigger squeeze, and your follow through, if you call that a 10, then just move it to where you think that 10 was, and then you're good, because now basically in dry firing, all you want to do is repeat that. And if you repeat that, then all of your shots should be in the same area. Now, if something's wrong, then they won't be. And that's why SCATT is such a valuable tool. So you'll see as the video goes on, eventually I'll go down to that menu option at the below that says make correction. So you'll click that, and then you'll click on the target where you think that shot should be, or where it actually should be if you were using an electronic target. And then you'll click make correction to finalize it. And then eventually, when you're satisfied with what you have, then you can go ahead and start match, which is all the way onto at the left side and at the bottom. And then those shots will be your record shots. So if you feel like it, go ahead and watch the rest of the video. It goes on for a little bit. I think I recorded 10 shots after I went to match, so you can see just what I'm dealing with my kneeling position. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little bit about how to connect the SCATT with your computer. And stay tuned, because I will have a couple more videos coming out eventually. One where I'm using this at 50 meters live firing, and then a final video I'll do with my overall impressions and what I've learned after I've been using the system for a while. So take care, and we'll see you again soon.